Hi everyone and welcome to Lee Judges TV, a new episode of The Night In With The Judge.
Yeah, but Lee, it's the afternoon, mate.
Yeah, it is the afternoon, but we're live, we're doing it live, so just pretend.
Yeah, but it's the afternoon, come on.
Yeah, but just pretend for 1 minute it's dark out there, like, yeah.
Right,
You'll get the gavel.
Alright, I don't want that.
By the way, would you like to touch my gavel?
You could keep your gavel, mate.
No one ever wants to touch the gavel. I can't believe it, like, you know what I mean? So there you go. Listen, we've got the show today. We've got the one and only Kevin Campbell down. Thanks for coming down, Kev.
A pleasure.
And what we're going to do is talk about, you know, the route of, you know, you becoming a professional footballer and all that. Like, and could do a little bit of background into your younger days, you know, when you wasn't, you know, the man you are now, like, you know.
Cool.
So is that all right with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to touch the gavel? I'll give last opportunity.
Listen, I know you're going to hit me with the gavel if I don't agree.
It's the last opportunity. So, okay, doesn't want to touch the gavel, so I'm putting it down, like, yeah. I don't know. I'll get someone to touch that gavel one of these days, I'll tell you, like, you know. But anyway, so, first of all, obviously I know where you was born and where you was brought up with, so tell the viewers you know, a little bit of some when you was a kid.
South London boy, born and bred Brixton, and born in 1970. I'm Aquarius. 4th of February is my birthday.
You have about four. You have about 4 birthdays.
I have about 4 birthdays a year. You're right, Lee. You're right, and I still not got a present off you. That's why you didn't get one.
Yeah, I didn't get.
But my presence is the present.
Oh yeah, the presence is the present. But I've got to say this: I always send you a card. I do, and it's not a red or a yellow one. I actually send you a card, but I didn't get nothing.
You sent me a card, did you?
Yeah.
When did you send a card?
Well, I've got evidence. I actually delivered it to you personally, hand delivered.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That just shows you, doesn't it?
Fine. Lee, thank you very much for that.
And a Valentine's card.
The cards I never got. That's why I wanted to touch your gavel. Anyway, look, South London boy, born and bred Brixton. Tough times in the 70s, obviously. And everyone who knows me always knew I wanted to play football because they always saw me with football. Always. If you saw Kev, you saw him with football. And I was lucky enough to, when I was coming up, I was an Arsenal fan back then. And I got to my first game in 77. Couldn't afford to buy a ticket to get in. Me and my friends went up to the game, and on the corner of Avenel Road and Gillespie Road, there was a programme seller there. Big Mitch and his dad, Bobby. He's my first kind of guy I got to meet at Arsenal. And him and his dad, we used to have Barneys all the time. So we clubbed our money together, bought a programme, Lee. You know what I mean? Everybody took their time to read the programme and stuff like that. As I say, couldn't afford to get in, but we were around, and it was 20 minutes to go. They opened the gates of the North Bank, and we'd shoot in and watch. And that day, Arsenal were playing Middlesbrough. And that's when Graham Souness played for Middlesbrough.
Oh, yeah.
Graham Souness had scored for Middlesbrough, and Frank Stapleton scored for Arsenal, drew 1 each. And that day, Spurs got relegated. So you can imagine the euphoria of the North Bank and the people, because it was all the radios at the time. There was no social media or phones or anything like that. So it was all radio, and you know the cheer went up and everybody was buzzing. So that just, the love for the club was even more. And you know what, Lee? You know when you went up the steps to the North Bank and then you got to the top and you saw the green carpet.
It was just something about it, wasn't it? It was just something about that, wasn't it?
That done it for me.
Yeah.
That done it.
I think it done a lot of Arsenal fans, because that was the thing that done it for me. Just something about the pitch and the surroundings of Highbury and that red and white shirts.
Amazing.
That was it, like, you know what I mean?
Highbury was such an iconic stadium as well. You felt as though you were part of the team. Yeah. When you were there, you're so close. And
before you got to Highbury, though, like, let's go a little bit. So you obviously you started playing at school first, or was there a school or a team outside?
Yes, school Sunday. Yeah, the Sunday side played for Arnside, which was around the Wharf Road, Old Kent Road side.
Oh, right, yeah.
And used to play on the Peeps Estate. And again, back then you could go to clubs. And you could train at clubs that you couldn't sign until you were 12 years old. So I was training at Millwall, I was training at Chelsea, Arsenal. You know, you go around and you just do the rounds, playing Sunday football. Then you get to secondary school, and then things start to get a little bit more serious. South London's, you pay for your borough and your district and all that kind of thing. So you start to move up and down. The clubs really start to push because they want to get you signed at 12. There was only one club I was going to sign for when it came in, when Arsenal came in. That was it. Signed for Arsenal, and then it was a privilege because I'd watch Pat Rice play. Yeah. And Pat Rice,
and then get to meet him.
Well, Pat Rice used to train us on a Tuesday and Thursday at Arsenal. Arsenal captain used to train you. You know, it was amazing. Him and Vic Akers, who was the kit man. Vic Akers used to take coaching as well and stuff like that. So it was a brilliant insight into the football club before you actually got into
the football club,
into the full time, and it just the knowledge that these guys had was amazing.
Do you know when you was at school? Like, obviously, did you get an education at school? Did you get through? School?
Listen, when I was at school, got a good education. Went to Henry Thornton School in Clapham Common.
Is that still there?
Not there anymore.
Gone, and a lot of schools have gone now, haven't they?
Yeah, a lot of the schools at 1,600 boys was
all boys.
All boys. And Michael Thomas was 3 years.
How'd you get on? You know, become a ladies' man. I've got to have to talk about that later on with all those boys. You know what I mean? So.
Well, you have to be better than the next man, don't you? You've got to be smart. You've got to be on it. Unlike you with a gavel, going to knock people over the head. You've got to use something different. You know,
a little bit of charm.
A little bit of charm and stuff like that. But no, it was a really good school.
Tough school, then,
1,600 boy, tough school. Yeah. But it was known as a sporting school. Football team. The football teams were always good. Like I said, Andy Gray, who played at Palace and stuff like, he used to live around the corner from me when I was a schoolboy. I was friends with his brother, and he was the first person I ever knew who was getting through into football. So you imagine, I'm a kid. And he's on the journey.
Yeah.
So I'm picking his brain about everything. I'm asking him. I must have drove him mad. I'm asking him questions.
So when you was at school and like you was at the Arsenal, going to go. So like towards it, like I think like it goes like different as it is now in school. If you don't know, it's first year, second year, third year. So you're in your fifth year now, and you go. You know you're going to be going to the.
Well,
Arsenal.
even before then, Lee. Let's look at before then. Michael Thomas was 3 years older than me at school.
And he was at that school?
And he was at Henry Thornton.
Right, cool.
So, times will go... I was trained at Chelsea the same time he was. So, there was times when me and him would go to Chelsea. I'm training with the youngers, he's training with the older boys. But just to be going with somebody like Michael Thomas, you know...
It was a big thing.
It was massive. He was the first Black England captain, you know, played. It was like, wow. I couldn't believe my luck. And then... obviously training at Arsenal as well, then he gets through at Arsenal. He makes it into apprentice. That's the path I want to go. Yeah, so he's already there. Now I'm coming through. So he's gone. He's no longer at school because he's now on the journey. So I'm at Arsenal trying to make my way through, and then you get to fifth year. And a lot of the time, that's when I knew
You was going to Arsenal.
I was at Arsenal. I would sign. No, not got offered an apprenticeship yet. You get offered an apprentice when you're in your fifth year. So it's a matter of you've got to wait for your letter to come through the post.
Right. Okay. So you still at this stage you're in the fifth. You don't know if
you don't know. You don't know if Arsenal are going to take you on. I know there's other clubs who would, but I would have been Arsenal.
Yeah.
So you're waiting for the letter to turn up, etc. But I've got a good idea the letter's going to turn up because most of the time as a 15-year-old. I was with the youth team anyway, so there's quite a famous picture, Paul Merson with the mullet,
I've seen
etc. And there's me and Lee Francis at the end who were 15-year-olds with Adrian Pennington and Russell Milton and a lot of these guys. I think you see Pat Rice in the picture as well, etc. I was 15 and I'm with the youth team, so I knew. I've got a chance. There's a good chance of being a trainee.
For Cannons when it comes to it, like, you know.
Well, official letter. I remember I was waiting for the postman. Every morning I was waiting for the postman. Waiting for the postman, waiting for it to drop, and it came, and I opened it, and lovely. Arsenal paper
Crest and all
and
that.
crest and everything, and you know, speaking to it was addressed to my parents and stuff like that. You know, once they want to offer Kevin a YTS, that was it. So YTS at the time, £27.50 a week, first year, 35 quid.
The second year.
The second year, Lee, you could have given me £1 million. That was it.
Yeah, it's done.
That was it. It was
So
brilliant.
You've got the letter and all that. First day. What was the first day? What would you tell everybody what the first day? So you've now left school. So this is your first working day.
This is my first working day. So
So
they got us all into the away dressing room. So they were telling us
So you had to be there at a certain time.
certain time, early morning. Got to be there at a certain time.
That must have been exciting, knowing you're going to these first days.
Yeah. So you've got 2 years. Basically, you've got
2 years to prove yourself now.
2 years to prove yourself, but you do duties. So you've got to learn all the.
So when was this? When was it like? August or July? Was
So
it first?
this
all the
was
players in by this
this
time?
was June.
So June.
So you're in June early because you've got to do
So
the
you left
jobs.
school what in April, May that time, and in June you're in.
Yeah, you're in because all of a sudden you got to learn how to do the jobs. There's jobs around the club that you're going to do, painting, railings, and you know the grout between the tiles, cleaning that. I remember me and David Illia being in the laundry room, sweating buckets with toothbrushes, doing the grout between the Ethel and Tony Donnelly are there. Boxes of kit are coming in because they're going to prepare everything for the first team. You know, helping them do all that kind of stuff. New boots are coming in. This is coming in. That's coming in. Showing you how to do the dressing rooms, clean the bathrooms.
And you haven't
doing
kicked
the
the ball
bus.
yet? You haven't kicked the ball like.
What ball? There was no ball there. There was no ball at all. So, you know, this is just...
What's
again,
a ball? What's a ball?
What is a football? This is all just getting your minds right.
Straight away, right. So
Getting
straight
your
away,
minds
you're
right.
into a working
Your
environment.
working environment.
You're playing football at this stage.
Yeah, working environment. This was everything. So, and then it comes down to them sitting you down and explaining everything. And you got Terry Murphy, Steve Burtonshaw, Pat Rice, Fikakers, you know, all the youth team kind of staff, youngsters who looked after the youngsters. Terry Murphy was the youth development officer, someone who doesn't really get lauded at the football club, but Terry Murphy was instrumental in the emergence of the likes of Rocky, Mickey Thomas, Paul Davis, all of these players who were my peers, who I held in such high esteem. You know, they were Tony Adams, all the Martin Hayes,
all
Keown,
gone through this system.
all gone through this system of where I was. So it was like I relished it.
Yeah.
I relished it. So in that time, you know, David Hill is there, Alan Miller, who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
He was there, Lee Francis. We had a good
team.
youth team.
So
you know what I mean?
Now that's coming. Obviously, you had to do a day at college as well, like. You know what I
Had to
mean?
do,
Like,
yeah. That was Wednesdays.
So you. do
Wednesday was a
gym,
college
it's been
day.
a little bit full. Now the youth team sort of getting together and you're playing games like Saturday mornings.
Well, pre-season. So you're having to deal with pre-season. George Graham had just taken over, so it's a whole new environment. It's a whole new working process. A lot of the first team players, your Charles Nicholases, your Viv Andersons were at the club. David O'Leary, who's always been good with youngsters because he came through.
Brilliant.
You know, and the youngsters who were hungry, Rocky, Michael Thomas, Niall Quinn, Martin Hayes, all these guys were budding to get into the first team and be established. George Graham made it all happen. And from the first day in where he sat us everybody down, he said, you know, that team in Liverpool who wear the red, we can take the blue, but the one with the red, they're the ones we have to go for because we've got to take their title. That's who we've got to go for.
And that's what they've done.
And he said, if anybody here doesn't want to work hard to get that, come and see me. I'll get you out of the club. So that things like that ingrained. We're going to work hard.
So in that 2 year period of the youth team, like obviously you won the FA Youth Cup.
Won the FA Youth Cup.
Scored a few goals in the final, I believe.
Yeah, scored a few goals in the final. Scored a hat trick in the first leg, and we won the first leg 5-0. And
job done.
Job done away from home as well.
Job done.
Which was great. And actually, I was a bit upset after the first game. When you think I should have been euphoric. But we played on a Friday night. I was due to be in the Arsenal first team squad because all the first team came to the game. They were playing Sheffield Wednesday the next day, and I was due to be on the bench. But when I suffered a dead thigh, keeper took me out for a penalty which David Illia dispatched, and I had to come off. And George Graham came in and said, "Look, leave it for tomorrow, because you're injured." So you can imagine, I'm there with ice on my leg, and I'm expecting to be with the first team players, and he said, "Leave it for tomorrow," and I'm thinking, well, my whole world's caved in. You know what I mean? But I ended up making my debut against Everton at Goodison, which is quite ironic.
Quite surreal. Like.
Yeah.
So 2 years are coming up now from the apprentice. Was you offered a contract before the 2 years?
Yes, I was. When you get to your 18th birthday, usually the club make you an offer. And George Graham, I'll never forget, George Graham said, come to the ground, I want to see you. So I thought, here we go. It's contract time, here we go.
Money.
Here we go. And, no agents or nothing like that.
Yeah.
So he kept me waiting downstairs in the marble halls for about an hour. Called me from the top of the stairs, come up, and went upstairs. Got into his office, all the wood paneling, plush leather and all that. And I'm on the midget chair. I'm a big boy, but I'm on the midget chair just looking over the desk, and he's on the... So he said, we'd like to offer you a pro contract. He pushed the contract over to me, and first thing you do is flip it over because the money's on the back. So I flipped it over, and I looked at it, and I said, I can't sign that, and he kicked me out of the office. I can't say exactly what he said, but obviously it was, he turned the air blue, and kicked me out. He said, who do you think you are? Get out of the office. Arsenal offering you a contract, the Arsenal and stuff like that. Kicked me out, and the next day I was scoring a lot of goals. I was in the reserves, and I found myself being with the youth team, back with the youth team, and this went on for 6 weeks. And 6 weeks later, I made it my mission. I'll prove you wrong. Scored a lot of goals, and got back, and he said, right, I want to see you at the ground. Got back to the ground.
You keep you an hour
and a half this time. I'm thinking, my God, he's out of order. So he said, right, Kev, on you come up. So again, in that short chair, it was a lot smaller then, just to barely see it over. Pushed the contract over. Same again, turned it to the back, and I said, I can't sign the contract. And he said, so it was a little bit different. He had a big smile. So he said, why not? So I told him the reasons why, because, there was a certain subsidy for my mum that my mum got to look after me. And on that money, I can't be travelling all the time from South London to get to London Colney and stuff like that. I want to be independent. So he said, why didn't you tell me? He said, you never give me a chance, you kicked me out of the office. So we had a little negotiation, and we got it sorted, and that was it. So that was the rise, and, from that moment on, it was push for the first team. Yeah. That was the key.
He was a professional footballer then, like, you know what I mean?
Even
though
wasn't quite first team.
Did you, when you was an apprentice, did you think you was would you think you was a professional footballer, or is it when you signed that first?
When you signed your first pro.
That's when you know.
That's when you're a pro, yeah. That's when you're a pro, yeah. Like, definitely.
And of course, then from there, obviously, like the couple of loans. So
well, that's where the hard work starts, Lee, because it's. We've done shows, and I've said, some of the youngsters have to go out on loan. When you go out on loan, when you sign your pro contract, that's just the start. When you have that taste of first team football, it's infectious, you need it. It's like a drug. To be young and playing at Arsenal with so many good players is hard. But you've got to learn your trade. That's the key. You've got to learn your trade. And I was happy to go and learn my trade because I wanted to be in the Arsenal first team. That's all I've ever wanted to do was play for Arsenal. And from the moments I got to the ground my first ever day in 1977 and to represent Arsenal at Goodison Park, sign my pro contract, and then to get into Arsenal, or to try and make it into Arsenal's first team with the likes of Rocastle and Thomas and Davis and Adams and Winterburn and Bold and all these wonderful players. Alan Smith had come to the club by that time. Charlie Nicholas was there. It was amazing times, and I wanted to be a part of it.
And of course, playing at high, you've obviously played at Highbury those times, so even to run out high, but of course it was not going to be full yet.
Yeah.
So you at this moment in time, as much as you do, you haven't been playing really in front of first team crowds, have you?
No,
You know what I mean?
no.
So is that an education? Like, so now you're going to go to Orient, even though it's on a smaller scale, there's going to be that pressure of playing in front of big crowds.
Well, there was a saying in it, Pat Rice always had this saying, Lee, you've always got to prove yourself, no matter where you are. And football is a prove it sport. We can talk about this or that, but when you cross that white line, you've always got to prove it. You've got to prove yourself, always. Because you know what? The punters who pay their money don't care whether you've had a Barney with the missus. They don't care whether you're ill. If you cross that white line, you've got to prove it.
You're 100%.
You're 100% as far as they're concerned. And it is so true. And I love that part of football because it gets you focused. You have to focus on the job.
If you was having a bad day, like, you know, with the missus or something like that, as soon as you went out on that, you just totally forgot about that. It's that.
Well, as you get to the ground,
that goes.
Lee, it has to. Because you can't carry the troubles with you on the pitch. Because you won't perform.
I've always said that, even if you have got, when you're playing football, for whatever that, you could have the worst
it's
thing.
Escapism, isn't it?
Yeah, you do escape from it, like, you know what I mean?
Some can't do it, Lee. Some people can't shut that off.
And so they have bad games.
So they have bad games, they're going through difficult times, and you know, now there's a lot of people with mental health issues.
Yeah. Which wasn't highlighted.
It was never highlighted then, you know, you toughed it up and you got on with it. But when you play for Arsenal, people don't care. Arsenal fans, or a lot of fans, do not want to hear your trials and tribulations. They want results.
Yeah.
And I love that.
They feel you're having a good life as it is anyway.
Exactly. Exactly. So I love that part of it because you had to be consistent. You knew what you were getting into. And for Arsenal, that was it.
And that's so fantastic for that. So now you've gone away on loan and all. When you come back from loan, because there was obviously Orient
and Leicester, yeah.
So now you've come back. Now you've been away from the club for a little while or whatever. Did you feel when you come back in there was a difference? Everybody treated you differently now, or you felt ready?
Well,
here's the
funny thing, you know, because you train with the first team before you go on loan, and then but you're a kid. You go on loan to Orient, and you're playing with the men. You're playing with the likes of John Sitton, Keith Day, you know, Alan Comfort, and all these guys, Stevie Baker. You're playing men's football against the old 4th division. You're playing against some tough teams, some hard boys down there.
Tough experience.
And you hold your own and you do well. You come back and you're a bit more seasoned. You're a bit more seasoned because you know how to handle yourself a little bit more. Then when I went to Leicester was 1 division down, so it was like Championship now.
Yeah. So a big step up.
So that was 2 divisions up from Division 2. And
done well there,
done well, held my own there, scored goals there. And then you come back and then you know. Because in order to play at that level, remember there's teams who are getting promotion and going up to Division 1. So you know you could play in that environment. So when you do come back, the manager knows you're ready. It's just a matter of you have to wait for your chance.
Yeah. So when was that chance? When did that chance come? Can you remember?
Well, the chance actually came when I was involved from time to time, but I think it was when Arsenal were going through such a tough time. I don't know if you remember, Arsenal went a long time without scoring goals, and it was at Highbury. It was my home debut at Highbury against Nottingham Forest. Des Walker and ended up scoring in front of North Bank, which you could bury me then, you know what I mean? They put me in the ground.
That must have been incredible. Like, you know, I was talking to Charlie Nicholas about that the other day, like, you know, not name dropping or nothing, but Charlie Nicholas. But and he was saying the whole of the North Bank cheering his name and all that. Now you've been on the North Bank.
Yes.
And now you scored, and that North
in
Bank
front of the North
cheering
Bank,
and all that. That must have
It's
like that must be an unbelievable experience for an Arsenal fan as well.
Yeah, for an Arsenal fan, it's you hear the superlatives chucked around. It's the dream. It's everything. But it was a dream for me to be able to go on that pitch and represent Arsenal and score in front of the North Bank where I stood.
It's just
you can't write the scripts. You can't write the scripts.
I remember back in the day, people don't remember this, but when the last game of the season,
and at the end,
they used to let you on the pitch, didn't they? Like, and I remember running up to the North Bank, pretending to score, like, do you know what I mean? Those sort of goals. But you've done it for real.
I've done it for real, and to be able to do that. And you remember, Nottingham Forest fans, you always used to say you never beat Des Walker. And Rocky, when they used to go away with England, he used to say to him, "Rambo's coming for you." It was like, "Rambo, who's this Rambo?" So I remember coming on the pitch, and Rocky saying to Des, "This is Rambo." And I remember Des saying to me, "Rocky keeps talking about you." Said, "But you're all right, but you're not ready. You're not ready." Because he would always try and get in your head, Des Walker.
Of course, yeah.
Because part of it is the psychological part. And when I scored, I'll never forget, after the game, he said, "Don't you dare do that again." But with a smile on his face, you know what I mean? Cool. So I knew then that I'd arrived.
Yeah, that's a coincidence. Your debut was against Everton, and your first goal was against
Nottingham Forest. Two of my ex-teams. Two of my ex-teams, yeah.
So now, of course, we've won the FA Youth Cup as a player now. Now you're in the first team.
Yeah.
91.
That was 1990 where I came in, and then
it
was the 1990-91 season where I was involved a lot of the time.
Didn't start off the season.
Didn't start off the season playing, but I was always involved in and around it. And maybe I think George Graham was just monitoring me, because he was monitoring how I would do. He was monitoring my mood, and there was a lot of football played. There was the Battle of Old Trafford where we got dot points, etc., etc. And then he decided to make a switch. He decided to move Paul Merson
to the
left side.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And he put me in the team with Alan Smith, because as far as his words, not mine, we needed a different look. We needed a boost. The squad, the team. And he put me in, and I was so hungry. You could imagine.
Yeah.
We were title contenders, and to get in the team that were pushing for a league title at Arsenal, and to get given that opportunity to play and make a difference. Oh my God.
And of course, like, if people don't know, like, it was obviously we'd won in '89, with Liverpool then won it in '90, and then we've come again, haven't we? And I think one of the best Arsenal sides ever, because never got the recognition. Lost one game. And it was a tough loss, because we lost two centre halves. We lost Boldy at Chelsea, and I think in the end, Dave Illier was playing centre half, and we ended up losing that game 2-1. It was a tough one to take, but we ended up going the season. We didn't lose another game in that season in the league. Won the league at a canter, really.
Yeah. And Nottingham Forest done us a favour beating Liverpool, and I'm sure you were there, Lee, when we played Manchester United that night, the night game, and
because that had finished and we'd won the league.
We'd won the league
now, and it was party time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the old Lucozade bottles had been changed from Lucozade to the old champagne and stuff.
And went and won 5-0.
No, we beat them 3-1. We beat them 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1.
The last game of the season, we played Coventry. We played Coventry at home. We beat them 6-1.
That's right. Yeah.
Beat them 6-1. They had the audacity to equalise, didn't they?
Yeah. Remember that? That was a party game as well.
That was a party game. So we got a hat trick.
Yeah, and we was that moment in time. We was a fantastic side, and winning season. Probably should have won the double, but we're not going to talk about that. Right?
That's one of the most painful times as an Arsenal
player.
The
only time I've ever cried.
Painful time as an Arsenal player. That was real painful. Real painful time.
And do you know what? That day taught me a big lesson. Never. And Spurs fans have never done it for that. I've always been humble and respect them every time we play them. Because that game there, I went to Wembley thinking,
We walk it.
We walk it.
We'll walk it. The team did. We didn't think that as a team. I know a lot of the fans.
I come home that day as my nan and grand. I went round to my nan and granddad's. They're all Spurs, and I just went upstairs and cried because I was getting a bit of stick, and it was hard to take. So I'll tell you what, like us Arsenal fans, very very fortunate because we only had to wait 2 years
to get them back.
2 years to get them back. It could be a lifetime. But unfortunately for him and fortunate for us, we had 2 years and Tony Adams
delivered
that day.
Yeah.
Wasn't the greatest game in the world, but
didn't need to be.
Exactly.
Didn't need to be. We had to pay them back at Wembley,
and we've done it
and we did.
So you've won. You know, like how old was you then? 21.
No, at 1991, I was 21.
2021, title holder at that age.
Title winner.
So like, you know, trophies are coming.
But the mentality, but you got to remember, Lee, under George Graham, that first year, won the League Cup, beat Liverpool.
Yeah.
Charlie Nicholas got the 2 goals. So the success. The next year, didn't win anything, but you could see the progress coming. The team was taking shape. Third year, obviously, was 89. You know, won the league at Anfield. Beat all the odds to win 2 clear goals at Anfield, 2-0, brilliant. Didn't win anything the year after that. Then it was the year where I came in, was the league win. Next year after that was brought Ian Wright. I got injured pre-season. Ian Wright came in. I found myself out of the team. That was another one where you think, I've got to change my game because George Graham didn't want to put me and Wrighty together at the start. So I thought to myself, right, I've got to change my game. I've got to be a little bit more like Smudge.
Yeah.
Add a little bit more like to my game, ball strings to my bow. So I went on training ground, trained hard, and I think it was near the end of that season. I think it was the Sheffield Wednesday game.
Yeah.
Where it was 1-1. I came on and we ended up winning the game 7-1.
Yeah.
And we just went on a tear after that.
Well, I remember that. You know, it was do you remember? Like, I think if we'd have a few more games, we'd have won the league. We was on fire.
We were on fire. We battered Liverpool 4-0. We were.
Yeah, we was playing really, and I was really looking forward to the next season because if you're going into it, it was. I think if I remember right, did we play? I can't remember who we played. Ian Wright got the golden boot with that game.
Last game of the season. Last game of the season. Southampton, wasn't it, or something like that?
I can't remember now.
Where Seaman rolled it out to him. I think it was Southampton. I think it was Southampton.
And we're thinking, right, we're going on a run. The Premier League then started. Like,
yes.
You know what I mean? So, you know, there was football before the Premier League, by the way. Like,
a lot of football before the Premier League.
But of course, the Premier League come in now, and of course, this big thing. And I thought, right, Arsenal are going to go for it.
Yeah.
Right? And it never quite
took off.
Never quite clicked.
And you know, some.
Did we lose the first game at Norwich? Or was it Norwich or
we were 2-0 up. We were 2-0 up against Norwich.
I think lost 3-2.
And we ended up we lost 4-2.
That's right, yeah.
We lost 4-2. I mean, we were stunned. We couldn't believe it. We just couldn't believe it. But again, first game of the season, sometimes these things happen. Yeah. And that Norwich side weren't bad.
No, they weren't a bad side.
They weren't a bad side.
Good season,
they done Bayern Munich and all that year, I think.
I think it was.
They were a decent side.
And I remember, this is a great little story. Is that we went up to, I think our first win of that season was at Liverpool.
Yeah.
And my mate's boy was playing for Gillingham at the time. Youth team played Arsenal, and we come in, went and watched the game, and that's when I met a few of the boys. All he was going up to Liverpool that day, like, you know.
Right.
And, that was the first time I met Ian Wright. You must have. I don't know where you was. I didn't see you then.
Didn't want to meet you.
No, I didn't want to meet you.
Obviously,
then, you know what I mean. So it's a Campbell, like, you know what I mean? So that was it, like that. And obviously that season didn't really work out in the league. But I'll tell you what,
it was the cup. It was the cup.
The cup season,
year.
wasn't it? Like,
that was the cup year.
And what Sheffield Wednesday on both occasions.
Yeah, I mean, you know, people talk about finishing in top fours and that, but you know what? Nothing beats winning silverware.
Nah.
Nothing beats winning silverware. And it's quite ironic. That side, we then became a cup team. Because a lot of people kind of tend to think we couldn't sustain it in the league because maybe we were a bit too reliant on Wrighty.
Yeah.
Whereas before, Alan Smith, myself, Merce. We got a lot of goals from
yeah,
all
all
over.
over, yeah.
It was a team
Even
effort.
the central defenders used to chip in.
Yeah, even the central. We then became righty centric.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Wright, because Wright was a wonderful player. But I think we relied a little bit too much on Wright at times, and but we became a cup team. But when you get through in the cups, we want to win. We're Arsenal. We want to win the games. And in my lifetime, I'd not seen a team win the League Cup and FA Cup in the same season.
We was the first team to do it, wasn't it?
First team to do it. So again, that's another big tick in the box. And to get Sheffield Wednesday on both occasions, that you play them twice in the league, and then now I think we played them 3 times in the cup because the FA Cup went to a replay. And the first game obviously was the League Cup, and we've had a couple of injuries. And Stephen Morrow, who was played in the youth team, ended up coming up trumps in the League Cup final, scoring the winner, and then having the unfortunate, Tony Adams, flipping him over his back, and he broke his arm and couldn't even go and get his medal. So
unbelievable.
That was unbelievable.
And of course, he missed the FA Cup final.
He missed the FA Cup final because of that, and again, we played them twice. Saturday was a tough game. They took the lead, we equalised, and it kind of petered out. And then the midweek, I think it was a Thursday.
Thursday night, yeah.
Played them on a Thursday night under the lights at Wembley, and we scored first. They equalised. They hit the post. They run us hard because they knew us. They knew a lot about us. And then Andy Linegan came up with the winner.
And it was it's a sensational, wasn't it?
Sensational, right in the last minutes of extra time. We win the game, and 2 cups is special.
Yeah, and when you think about it, within the space of 2 years, you've won everything domestically.
Everything
FA
domestic,
Cup,
yeah.
FA Cup, League Cup, and of course the title.
And
So
a title, and then don't forget we went to the it was the Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah, the next season.
Next season,
Cup.
And again, George Graham pushing us. He wanted to win. He wanted to win in Europe. He liked to be able to pit his wits against European managers, and I think that Arsenal team were quite flexible.
Well, and this is when we won't delve into too much about coaching and all that, because we had a load of players out that day.
Yeah.
As well.
Really
Wright, he wasn't available because he was suspended.
Martin Keown, John
Jensen
Jensen
was injured. Yeah, he was injured.
David, they weren't there.
So you had to play on the right.
Yeah, played on the right. Merce left. In the midfield was Paul Davis, Selly.
Yeah.
And who else was in the midfield? Was it? Who was it? Was it Stephen Morrow in the midfield?
I think it could have been like,
Yeah, I mean, it was a
makeshift midfield.
It was a makeshift midfield. It was a makeshift midfield.
And Paul Dickoff had been on loan and come back.
Was on the bench.
On the bench because we was running out of play.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
again,
tactically, got it right.
That mentality, we
Copenhagen,
Denmark. We watched them. We watched videos of them, and me and Merce had specific details. Their 2 fullbacks used to cause overloads on the outside all the time. So Merce had to track their right back all game. I had to track their left back all game. And that's what we ended up doing. We ended up at times playing as extra right backs and left backs. And at times they're going to get in. They're quality players. They're the quality side. But the key was not to let their fullbacks get in behind you and overload you. So that's what we done. And Smudger came up with an absolutely sweet volley.
Yeah.
We knew once we took the lead.
That was
1-0 to the Arsenal. 1-0 to the Arsenal was there. Once we took the lead, we had something to hold on to, and we knew how to hold on to a lead. And again, to win a European trophy with Arsenal was like
So really, it's done it all at the Arsenal, really. Isn't it?
So all the success came through Arsenal was special for me. Yeah, special.
Of course, then obviously, like you've left the Arsenal now. Like that must have been a tough ask.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the George Graham got sacked, and the bung allegation, and
it just started to crumble.
We started to implode from the inside. Once you take away the head honcho, which was George Graham, he was the driving force. He was the one who set all the game plans. This is the way we're going to play against this team. There were times where we changed system, but everybody knew what they were doing. He went, then Stuart Houston took over. Some new players came in. I was out injured with I had a back operation, and you could just see things weren't the same at Arsenal. You know, we lost a bit of impetus, and got to that summer. I was out of contract, and Bruce Rioch came in, and want to stay at Arsenal, but you know, you need to know who's going to be at the helm. You need to know, is this a guy I could follow? And unfortunately, it wasn't a guy I could follow. And you know, I met him, sat down with him, and do I have regrets? In a sense, yeah, because I love Arsenal, I love the club, but he wasn't my type of guy. My manager, and I obviously missed out playing with Dennis Bergkamp.
Well, yeah, just about
because he came in, you know, missed out playing with Dennis Bergkamp, and then obviously a year later, missed out playing under Arsene Wenger. So, is there regrets? You could say, yeah, you could regret that because obviously Arsene Wenger was an incredible manager. But at the time, football's about timing. Yeah. And the timing just wasn't right for me, so I left there and went to Nottingham Forest.
And then obviously to Turkey. And then I think, like, if you say you got regrets, you couldn't regret the move to Everton, because I think that was a making of you as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'll go around there with Anfield. We go around Goodison Park now, and obviously, like, because of that Anfield goal, honestly, you can't walk around the ground without being mobbed. It's unbelievable.
Oh, it's incredible.
They absolutely love you up there, don't they?
It's incredible.
Absolutely love you up there.
The thing is, they took to me, and I took to them, like a family. And I always say, winning cures everything. When I went to Everton, it was in that March transfer window where that was your last chance of getting someone in who can make a difference. Everton were really struggling, and we hit rock bottom at that time, and went on a run of scoring 9 goals in 8 games and helped the club stay up. And you know, any team that survives like that, you know, they're forever grateful for what you do. And you know, it just was the making of me at Everton and our love affair, really.
And you had that,
with the football club.
The monkey on your back with the Everton Liverpool, with scoring at Anfield up until last season.
Yeah.
But we can still say that you're the last person to score a winning goal at Anfield with fans.
Yeah,
we can still say that.
Yeah, could still say that. So
we
keep something.
We can hold on.
Hold on to it. Why not hold on to it as much as we can? But no, it was again. Liverpool dominated, and Liverpool have dominated that fixture. Why? Because a lot of the time they've had the better players, and a lot of the time the better players win these games. Yeah. And that was one time where you look around the dressing room and you had Richard Gough, and you had quality players, Don Hutchinson, Franny Jeff was there, Nick Barmby was there, who then became a Liverpool player and hated on the blue side, which was crazy. You know, Michael Ball, Richard Dunn, Abel Xavier, quality players with experience. You know, and obviously
proper team.
3 players ended up getting sent off on the day, scored in the 6th minute, seeing Evertonians in the Kop. You know what I mean? This is things that I've never witnessed, because you would never get that in a North London derby or anything like that. You know, so it was a special time. Everton's a special football club and dear to my heart. Yeah.
So and of course we finished that. I've got to just quickly mention, if people don't know, like the Great Escape at West Brom. That was unbelievable. Like, because if no one knows, West Brom were bottom of the league
at Christmas and New Year,
which has never been done,
never survived.
And you put that down as one of your best
greatest achievement, because obviously it's a challenge leaving Everton to go there, knowing that they're bottom. But you know, Brian Robson convinced me to come to the club. Got to the club and I looked around, and I'm looking at some of the players. You know, they've got good players. Carnu was there at the time. You know, big Darren Moore. You know, Neil Clement, Paul Robinson, Jeff Horsfield. He brought in Kieran Richardson from Manchester United. Brought in Richard Chaplow from Preston. Ronnie Warwick was there from Man United. Jonathan Greening was there from Manchester. And I'm looking around, I'm thinking, how are these guys not doing better than they are? And then you get into the training, you realise that, you know, it's I think they found it difficult to let games go. And as a footballer, that's what you got to do. You've got to let games go. Darren Purse was captain at the time, and we'd gone through some difficult games, and we played Crystal Palace at home and we drew 2 each. Robert Earnshaw got 2 goals and we're 2-1 up until the last second, and they equalised, and 2-2, and we were going. It was an international break. Went away to Orlando, and it was on that flight that I think Brian Robson made his mind up that he's going to make me captain, because all the players respected me, you know, strong voice in the dressing room, etc. And we got there, we had a meeting, and he said, "I'm going to make Cam's captain," and everybody said, "Yeah." And from that moment on, we kind of had meetings when we were out there, and was just getting the guys focused. When we get back, guys, no matter what happens with games, win, lose or draw, we've got to let it go and concentrate on the next game. That's what we got to do. And that's what we done, and we started picking points up. I said, look, as long as we get to the last game of the season and we can stay up, we've put ourselves in a great position. And that's what we've done. We played Manchester United penultimate game of the season at Old Trafford. Everyone was saying we were down. We were 1-0 up with about 8 minutes to go. Man United equalised and we drew that game 1 each. We were bottom of the league. And we were going into the last game against Portsmouth, needed to win. We needed snookers, really.
Yeah, because it was jumping and turning
yeah,
all
it was
around.
topping and turning all the time.
It, yeah.
And, you know, Crystal Palace played Charlton away. Norwich played Fulham. And Southampton played Man United. And, you know, was on the phone. Wayne, come on, do the business at Southampton. Was on to Thomas Radzinski at Fulham. But I didn't have anybody in the camp at Charlton, so I was like that at Charlton. And that game had been delayed, so we're waiting on the pitch. Luckily, we done the business 1-2-0, and they ended up drawing, and we stayed up, which was unbelievable. I was so pleased for Brian Robson, Nigel Pearson, and the coaching staff, Craig Shakespeare, and all the backroom staff. They worked tirelessly to improve us and get us to a point, and it was I still say it's the greatest achievement because nobody gave us a chance.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, coming to the end of the career now, finished off at Cardiff. Mm-hmm. All in all, Kev, not a bad career really, is it?
Well, 20 odd years.
Good life.
Playing football, great life. Love football and met some wonderful, wonderful people along the way. But nothing beats Arsenal, mate, I'm telling you. Nothing beats Arsenal.
Nothing beats the Arsenal. Right, we're going to go into the last bit of the segment now, where the gravel comes out, like, you know. You sure you don't want to touch it?
I'm not touching your gravel. I don't want nothing to do with it.
So I was going to ask a quick fire couple of questions. Now, this is live, right? So normally I would have someone like telling me like what the questions are, and we can cut and do that. So I'm going to try my best to remember if I can, like, you know what I mean? So we'll go from the first one, right? First question I'm going to ask on Ask the Judge. What do we call this now?
Court in order.
Court in order. Court in order. Right, here we go. Right, first question. I know you're a big fan of Don Hutchinson, good player, Scottish international. I know he's a good friend of yours, not of mine. So we're going to go like Paul Merson or Don Hutchinson. Best player.
Best player or best player for me? There's difference.
Turn it around here, like,
no, because there's a difference. Because
best player, but I'm going to go on him.
Merce was probably a better player, but for me personally, me and Don had a connection. And if you look at a lot of my goals for Everton, Don played a real big hand. He just knew where I was going to go. He knew my runs, so. I'm a bit getting out of it a bit.
Yeah,
although I've said, no, not sitting on the fence. I did say Merce.
Right,
I did say Merce, but for me, in my personal game, Hutch.
Okay, no worries. Best Arsenal kit?
Ooh. Any home kit I loved, because obviously I'm an Arsenal fan. But my favourite one, Lee, was the bruised banana. Ooh. For more ways than one. Oh. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah, I'd like to know why.
I remember...
Great shout, by the way.
I remember when...
No one liked it when it first... I didn't like it when it first came, I'll be honest.
When they first showed us the kit and we were going to do the pictures in it and such, nobody wanted to wear it. And I think there's a photo in a programme. I don't know if you remember this, Lee, or anybody watching. There's Tony Adams in the home kit. There's Dave Seaman in the goalkeeper's kit, and there's me in the bruised banana.
I've seen that, yeah.
None of the boys wanted to wear it. I was like, I love the kit because the shorts were different, the socks were different, and the top was like a fashion statement.
Yeah, well, it wasn't.
But it was new. Yeah. No, but it was like it's different, wasn't it? It's a bit loud and stuff, and I was like, love it, get it on here. And over time, we played in it and we started winning.
Yeah, we won at Anfield in it for the first time.
And you start winning in it, and everyone's just like, actually, I
quite
like that kit. And it became a fashion statement of the football club because nobody had a kit like it.
Yeah, no, it was, and even sort of brought it back and all that. But it was always I'm going to be honest, I never liked it at first, but ended up loving it.
Iconic,
and I think a lot of Arsenal fans did like it. So that's a good one. Thank you very much for that one. Like, you know what I mean? George Graham or Arsene Wenger?
I've got to go with George Graham myself, solely because where the club were when he took over, there was a lot of fans who weren't sure at all about getting an old Arsenal player from Millwall.
Yeah.
And
Arsenal fans moaning, by the way.
Yeah, hey, listen, it's been there for years. Don't worry about that. But it was a hell of a task, Lee. You know that it was a hell of a task to turn the Arsenal ship around.
Yeah, he done it.
But what he done, he was incredible. He took all the training. He got the young players who were hungry to play, who loved the club, moulded them with experienced players, and he got the Arsenal ship and train back on the track. And it was remarkable how he done it, and he done it through coaching. He done it through having a toughness to compete, which was amazing. And he helped a young kid from South London make the first team.
Yeah, so you'll always be grateful for that.
Well, I'll always be grateful for that. Like I said, Arsene Wenger was probably the greatest Arsenal manager. But he had that back five.
All done by George Graham.
And that was...
That was
you have a base, you have a foundation.
He had the foundation, didn't he?
You have a foundation. And what he done was remarkable. I will never take anything away from Arsene Wenger. But I'm not sure Arsene Wenger could have done what he'd done without having that base.
I'll ask the next one. I'm going to ask Dan to come in the last one because I forgot it, right? But like this one I haven't,
Is he there?
He's just about. He went for something to eat like a little while ago. He ain't come back since. So, you know what I mean? But second one, Highbury or the Emirates? I know probably what you're going to go for, but reasons why.
The spaceship is the Emirates. It's got all the bells and whistles. It's got all the nice bars and all that kind of thing. It's got the pitch to die for. But you can't beat Highbury. You can't beat the history of the marble halls. You even to the smell of the hot dogs and the burgers and the onions and even the horses crap on the floor, walking along Gillespie Road, Avenue Road, getting that atmosphere of Highbury and the history.
Yeah.
Having the junior gunners down that west stand, down the bottom, and just having that feeling of seeing the Clark and the North Bank, that will always be special for me. So I've got to choose Highbury for sure.
Okay, and the last question, Dan, what was it?
Any player, past or present, that you'd like to play with, that you would have liked to have played with?
I don't know if you heard that. Any past or present player you would have liked to have played with? And I've played with some good ones.
I played with some great players. I think because it's an Arsenal thing, I think I would have loved to have played with Liam Brady.
Oh,
because
what a player!
Watching him and seeing the stuff he could do as a forward, as a striker, you just think to yourself, he sees everything.
Yeah.
I'm sure when you get a player who can. We talk about creative players now. Liam Brady was it when the tackles were flying about.
Difficult pitches.
Yeah, difficult pitches, and he could spot a pass and he could unlock a door. So I think Chippy would have been the one I would have loved to have played with. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Kev, thanks for coming down. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm doing this live, so we've done it live. So That is a first, like, you know. So, listen, thank you for tuning in and watching A Night In with the Judge.
Afternoon with the judge.
Afternoon with the Judge. Whatever, like, you know, pretending it's dark out there. Thanks for joining. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.